If you have this set up, you are really going to be at the cutting edge of what's possible. It's like taking the best parts of both physical and digital and putting them together in a really satisfying way.
Yeah, natural 20 on the 2D20 with advantage, amazing.
It's sort of a next generation version of the tabletop playing experience.
It's sort of a tech hacker's playground that gives us a lot of potential to keep forging a path towards that next generation experience. I'm Andrew Clayton with Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and the question is, what am I doing at the convention? What am I doing here at the Game Theory Tables booth? Well, our software is excited to be partnered with Game Theory Tables to deliver a really next generation gaming experience for a hybrid physical-digital mode of play. So our software is an excellent companion for the arena table that allows you to use Foundry Virtual Tabletop as the display view of your gaming experience on the TV surface in the arena table. And Foundry VTT is a self-hosted application for running all sorts of tabletop role-playing games. We have over 300 supported systems, and you're able to run it right on your PC or laptop that connects to the table, and you can present those games to your group of friends and have access to a whole vast library of premium content from all your favorite publishers, ranging from Wizards of the Coast, Paizo, Chaosium, and more. In terms of Foundry, kind of the ethos of Foundry being like customize your play experience for how you want to play, there's a modularity of the table and a quality of the table that I think meets that and elevates it in terms of the way that it works for in-person gaming. And the future is bright. There are still problems to solve in terms of the integration between our products, but making better use of touch, that's a frontier that we can eagerly explore. Making better use of sound, having better ways maybe to play sound effects from Foundry through the table in a way that maybe is positional for the people seated at the table. There's things that we can explore using the toolkit that the arena offers that it's sort of a tech hacker's playground that gives us a lot of potential to keep forging a path towards that next generation experience. We also integrate with Pixels dice if you want to roll physical dice on the table as well. Those Pixels dice can connect to Foundry, and you can have the satisfaction of the tactile sensation of rolling physical dice, but the digital automation of reading those dice results into the virtual tabletop software and having those dice results affect the outcomes of all the rolls that you make. How does the sort of trifecta of Foundry plus Game Theory Tables plus Pixels dice elevate and bring that next level of gaming that is kind of the future vision for the hybrid physical-digital experience? Well, not everyone's able to play in person, and so that's a luxury to begin with. But if you are, and if you have this set up, you are really going to be at the cutting edge of what's possible because you get to benefit from the best of all worlds, basically. You get the satisfaction of in-character and in-person role play with, face-to-face with your friends, but you also get to benefit from all of the amazing digital tools and automation and the wealth of content at your fingertips. Even for someone who has like a closet full of physical terrain or physical miniatures, you can never have as much terrain and you can never have as many miniatures as you can have in your digital library. And so honestly, like the universe of gaming content available at your fingertips, but with the physical satisfaction of the in-person role play, rolling real dice, having the results of those dice be automatically computed correctly with the correct automation and math applied so that the rules of the game that you're playing are automatically handled correctly. It's a great way to explore new games as well because you don't face as daunting a learning curve of like, I've always wanted to try Blades in the Dark, but like, how do the skill checks work in that game? Well, the Foundry system helps guide you through that because the system works automatically. It just prompts you what dice you need to roll when a check is called for. And so it's a way to both learn new things as well as draw on the depth of content that can be in your library because of all of the amazing pieces of premium content that are out there for Foundry. And then bringing the Pixels dice into it sort of completes the trifecta, I suppose. All right, well, thank you all very much for sticking around. I'm Andrew Clayton from Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Hopefully a few of you have heard of us already, but if not, we are a software for playing tabletop RPGs online or in person. We can be a great digital accessory, a game aid to your in-person game, whether you have like a normal TV on the wall, like a boring person, or you have something like the Arena, which is very, very cool as a way to present a view of your tabletop game to your players. Now, for this demo, just for expediency, I'm gonna show the GM view on the table. But if you were running this as a game for your group of players, you'd probably want to show a player view on the table, so you'd have asymmetric information of this is what the players see, this is what you as the GM see. Now there's two ways you could do that. One is off of the same laptop. You could have two windows, one that's your laptop screen for the GM, one that's a separate window for the players. Or you could have a player at the table who's volunteered to be like, I'm gonna drive the player view, so I'll control what the players see, you GM, you focus on what you need to do. Whatever the social convention is at your table, there's two really good ways to make that work. I'm gonna show a little bit of D&D content, but who knows where this will go, we'll see where it takes us. This is a very familiar looking region map from the Phandelver and Below adventure, official content from Wizards of the Coast. But let's get to like a scene where you're kind of exploring an area of the world, because I think that's what really makes the table shine. So here's one of the first encounter maps of that adventure. Cragmaw Hideout, everyone's probably seen it before. Familiarity in this case is maybe a good thing. I'm going to place a character down on the scene so that we can have, let's say this barbarian over here is our player character. So this is sort of what the player view would look like on the table. And again, I could be controlling this as the GM, or I could have one of you as the player be like, I'll control the player view. Now our barbarian is not able to see into the caverns because they don't have dark vision, they don't have a source of light, it's dark in there. So we'll play around with giving our barbarian character a bit of dark vision range, just so I can show you some fun Foundry features. Foundry has built-in dynamic vision, line of sight, fog of war, dynamic lighting. So here we are able to see into the cavern and kind of see in grayscale that the wolves that are waiting for us or whatever else we encounter inside this area. And so we can move around, we can pan the scene, we can run our combat encounters directly on the table from the perspective that the players would have of the area. And so we can roll dice, we can run the combat. Now this is, again, I've just unselected the token, so this is me as the GM view. Players wouldn't normally see this. They would be locked into what their character sees, only having that asymmetric information. Yeah, players can control their own tokens, move around the map. If you need to, a fun feature that Foundry has is you can pause the game at any point. If you need to like deliver some exposition or arbitrate a rule or something, you don't want people wandering off, you can pause. But other than that, if the game's unpaused, the players can control and move about the map as they wish. And then of course, at some point you're going to need to roll some dice. So while Foundry VTT does support a lot of automation, and I'll show you what that looks like the old-fashioned way, it's still pretty new, but off of the character sheet, suppose I need to make a intimidation check against these goblins. I can make my intimidation check and I can roll digitally, and I'll have a nice animated 3D dice roll. I'll see the result of my intimidation check. It factors in your character bonuses, your skill checks, your proficiencies. Everything's handled automatically, but it was still a digital roll, and we're trying to play here at a physical table, so I think we need to get some real physical dice involved.
Hi, I'm Jean, I'm the founder of Pixels. We make electronic dice full of LEDs, as you can see here, and with Bluetooth technology. So that means many things, including being able to have really, really cool looking, light up dice, but also the ability to still roll physical dice with your VTT, right? And as I say to everyone, Foundry is the best experience you can have and the best way you can play with physical dice. The dice do not need any sort of a connection to be usable and to work. You can preset them ahead of time and then just roll them and have different colors depending on what you're rolling, etc. And then just use them as fancy dice. But if you're a nerd like the rest of us and you want to integrate it with your high-tech tabletop experience, then you should connect it to Foundry and then play it on this games table to get the full experience. So if we can maybe connect all the roaming ones. Yeah, all the roaming ones.
We'll try the D20.
Yeah.
So yeah, each of these is Bluetooth.
There you go.
We're going to connect them to the laptop that's running the game. And
Yeah.
It might take a moment to pair each of them because I didn't prepare.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Well, we already did. There we go. So here, I'll do it again.
Yeah, you can keep doing
Right.
that.
So I just rolled a 17 here.
Can you move them a little closer though?
Yes.
So I can make them all,
Yep.
get them all paired?
There we go.
Perfect.
But yeah, and so here I'm just rolling a 9. Yep, 9 showing up on there.
So here I have pixels configured as like my preferred way I want to roll a D20. And so when that's the case, you get to benefit from all of the character sheet automation that Foundry has in addition to the process of rolling the dice. So if I go back to the Barbarian here, say we need to make an acrobatics check. We're going to make our acrobatics check, and it's here. It's prompting Jean to roll the D20 that we've paired. And so it knows how to associate the result of the D20 roll with the acrobatics check you had to make. And so if we look in the chat log, we see like we had an acrobatics check. It's not superb. You've just got an 11, even with the +4 bonus, but it is able to do all of the automation and the integration that the software has while allowing you to roll the physical dice. And that supports also like advantage or disadvantage as well. I'll try and get the second D20 paired so I can show you rolling both at the same time. But even if you only have one Pixels D20, you can still use advantage or disadvantage. So suppose the Barbarian charges in and is going to target this wolf. We'll make a Great Axe attack with advantage. We'll like reckless attack. 2D20, Jean, you're up. Like, can you slay the wolf?
Oh, but I don't even need a second one.
Oh, you got a 20. Well, yeah, you don't even need to roll again. But yeah, natural 20 on the 2D20 with advantage. Amazing. So you'll actually get to roll damage, critical hit. And this is going to be a digital dice, but you could configure those D12s to also use pixels. So if you have the Pixels D12, that is a prodigious amount of damage, by the way. 17 damage is enough to all but take down this wolf in one shot. I can try and pair the D12 as well. I don't know if I paired that one yet.
There's the D12 would be named, and then there should be an unnamed pixel that would probably work actually.
Roaming D12. I'll try that one.
Oh, paired already.
Yeah. So then if I said I had also a D12 of pixels, I could go to my dice configuration and say I want to use pixels for the D12 roll also. So in that case, once I've done that, it should be that when I try and roll critical hit damage, it will now prompt Jean to roll that damage. Well, it's a critical hit, so you get to roll it twice.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's fair. 13 points of damage is enough to finish the job against this poor creature that you've now vanquished. So it's a cool integration that lets you have the very hybrid, like physical digital game experience of the tactile dice, the digitally assisted software experience, the player view, the GM view. It's kind of bringing all the pieces together to kind of have that ultimate in-person experience that's like next generation in terms of the tech that it's bringing to the table. We have a game that we are making called Ember. It is a fully featured original game, an imaginative fantasy setting, and a campaign arc that is built exclusively for Foundry VTT that uses all of the cutting edge features that Foundry is capable of to tell a story that is really fun. It's a game that's based on exploration of the world. So here, for example, is our Ember. Oh, taking a second. Here, for example, is our Ember region map where you're able to explore. It's kind of hex-based exploration. This is your party token over there. As you explore around the world, you'll notice that every hex has a distance, it has a terrain type, it has biomes. As we're moving around the world, time of day is advancing, locations are becoming discovered, events are happening. This was back a direction that I'd already explored, so maybe I'll go back in a new direction, venturing forth into the unknown. It's getting dark. We encounter a gameplay event here, which for the GM, this is again the GM view of the world. I'll rewind the time a little bit so it's a little brighter on the screen, but the GM would see this on their screen, players wouldn't see this yet, and you have all of the gameplay details of the event at your fingertips to really get into the details of all of this amazing gameplay that's available. And it's not just region exploration as well. We have an amazing system called Vistas that allow narrative moments to be visually communicated to players in the world. So for example, what that looks like is this event here. We go into a scene where we're able to encounter a campsite of fellow adventurers, a party of non-player characters, and we get to meet these characters with this wonderful character art. We can look around the scene, we can immerse ourselves in the environment, and these scenes are fully interactive as well, so these characters can move around. Like I'll bring this one forward to like come up to the camera to talk with us. We can meet this character and have a nice role-playing moment for everyone at the table who can then imagine themselves directly in this place. You know, it's theater of the screen in addition to theater of the mind. And all of these characters that you meet are tracked in the codex, where you keep track of all of the characters that you've encountered, when you've encountered them, as well as all the devilish creatures that you face when exploring the world. Ember is a very comprehensive game. It's going to offer about 3 years of gameplay. So it's a very large world with a very long format campaign. It supports both D&D 5th edition as well as our own first-party in-house system called Crucible.